Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It is a very special day today because I'm having one of my guests that I've had on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope, Dr. Denise Wunderler. She's back today, and we're going to talk about what she originally revealed to us when she came on the show, and that was the loss of her young daughter, Vienna. And it's been 4 years, right, Dr. Denise?
Yes, yeah, it'll be 4 years next month, November 12th.
So yeah, so this is a big time. This is a big time. So why don't we just give a quick update, Denise, with a little backstory of yourself, what you're doing, and who you are. Introduce yourself, and then just give us a recap of this story.
Okay, thank you so much, Cornelia, for having me again. I really appreciate being here today. So yes, my name is Denise Wunderler, and my daughter Vienna, Carly Savino, now 4 years. It will be next month. She was almost 3 years old, fell asleep watching TV, and then never woke up. And this is something that my husband and I, both being physicians, never heard of. Called sudden unexplained death in childhood, or SUDC. And of course, we've heard of SIDS, and everyone's heard of SIDS, but nothing, over 1 year old. Of course, every parent thinks that when your child turns one, you're safe. There's nothing to worry about after that. But we were absolutely wrong. So we learned that this is a category of death in kids 1 to 18 years old, where after a death scene investigation, autopsy, and medical record review, if everything is normal, it's considered an unexplained death. So it's unexplained. It's considered SUDC. So that happened now 4 years ago, and I was dealing with so many different emotions, from everything. And one of the ways that I've been coping is through our nonprofit called Team Vienna for SUDC awareness, and that has really been a huge part of my coping skills and trying to educate the world essentially about SUDC.
Yeah, I mean, so. Every time when we've talked over this last year since I've met you, and I know this is just this whole, I'm sure it never goes away, to what you guys felt when that took place, when Vienna died unexplainably, just all of a sudden falling asleep and never waking up. And just that must have been, so hard. And still, even to talk about it now, I know that this brings up a lot for you.
Yes, it sure does. I mean, and some people may think, well, it's been 4 years. You should be over it, or thank goodness no one told me that. But this has happened to other parents. I know, surprisingly, yes, people tell me the most unbelievable things that people have mentioned to them. But really for me and for my husband, it's every single day, and every single day that she's not here and she's not interacting with her older brother and sister, and they would have been such an amazing threesome tagging around with each other. And it's tough to see sometimes. Honestly, it's tough to see, families of five where, we used to be that physical family of five. We are still always a family of five, but now not physically, sadly. So yeah, it's still tough every day.
Yeah. And you know what I find, like what you said, when you see different families, when you see families of five, like when you, are, thinking back to the memories, the family that you used to have, because how old was she when she passed?
So yeah, she was 2 months shy of 3. So she's 2.8 years old.
Okay.
So she'll
So,
be.
she's been with you, for 3 years and
Yes.
with the family, and then had to have something like that happen. And now, like, being filled with different emotions at different time, like you said, it's every day. It's almost like every hour, because you never know at any point in time when you're faced with like a memory or something that brings it up, where you have that ache, and then you have to sit and be with it and be present. So we wanted to talk a little bit today because her birthday's coming up, right?
Yeah.
On 11/12, and
Well,
we
well,
wanted.
actually, her birthday is January 19th, but
Oh,
her the day she died is 11. Yeah, is November 12th. Yeah.
okay, so she died a few months before her birthday,
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, and I mean, this is the toughest time of the year, like you said, going into the holiday season, and then of always looking at those dates again, and also then facing in January again. So what are your coping skills now that you've developed over this course of this trauma that you experienced, and how do you cope? How do you cope with
Right.
all of this?
Well, first and foremost, I've really tried to learn to really focus on my two surviving kids because initially, you know, I was very foggy and, I really felt like even though I may have been present, but I wasn't truly present with our two surviving kids, because my mind was elsewhere. So just really trying to focus on, her older brother and sister really has been helpful. And always remembering Vienna, bringing up, fond memories of her. And you remember when you did this with Vienna, and bring up videos and pictures, just to have them have hopefully a memory of her in the forefront of their mind. And having them also know that, she'll always be a part of our family. And then also, doing the grief support meetings, really with talking with other parents, especially other moms, who have lost kids in the same way. I mean, that's been especially helpful. And also, this is through one of the other nonprofits that I co-founded, the SUDC Coalition. We're also doing virtual meetings with parents and also with kids, because I know with my kids, they definitely need that connection with other siblings who have lost, a brother or sister to SUDC. So that's been really comforting to them to know that, they're not alone, because kids grieve too. Can't forget about them, as well as parents, and the grandparents. Everybody grieves in a different way. And even some people, feel that, and I believe it's true, parents, the grandparents grieve twice. So they grieve for their grandchild who is not here anymore, but then also for the child that they once knew who is now changed since the death of my own child. So I'm just trying to speak to different people. Spreading her sunshine has been helpful to me too, through the nonprofit. So I'm doing various fundraisers, and so many people have been so helpful, with that goal of raising money for research. So we just donated over 16,000. Actually, it was $16,119.19. Why? Because 119 is Vienna's birthday. Yeah, so we just donated that earlier this year, from Vienna's birthday fundraiser, to Boston Children's Hospital, to Robert's program, and they've been doing amazing research on SUDC since 2012. So we're working with them to increase the funding and just increase more of the research. And we're actually in 3 different research studies that I'm really trying to make sure I've done everything for, make sure they have all the information from us that they need. And then potentially a researcher just contacted me, potentially a 4th study as well. So we're just trying to, do the best that we can with all of this.
Yeah. Well, you said so many things. So like what it brings up for me is, first of all, your two children that you have now. How old are they?
11 and 9.
11 and 9. So I mean, they're young, and they were
Mhm.
young also, when that happened. And so I mean, yeah, for you to appreciate the children that are here, like you said, at first you weren't here because you were traumatized, you were in
Yeah.
shock, and now you are, you know, really being able to be present with them and seeing the value of that. And then also, getting them the support that they need so that they can relate with children on their level, that have lost loved ones, right? Or
Yeah.
siblings or whatever. And so that's an important piece. I love what you pointed out for the grandparents too, that they are actually grieving twice, that they are grieving that their grandchild lost, but then also your ache, the ache of their child. And
Right.
that is huge because, unless we talk about it, we don't really know, what somebody else would be going through. And I think that's why your education and what you're doing, fundraising and, helping other parents that might have lost a child through, what you've gone through is important. And then how do we deal and cope with going on? And that's what you're doing, what you're educating. And so I find, I would you believe that I actually had two close associates of mine. um, One is in my media group, which is one of my clients,
Mhm.
has been on my show. She came on the Stories of Hope. Actually, that's how I met her. And then, of course, I got her started in podcasting. And now she's going to be spreading her son's light, his legacy, keeping his legacy alive in with her podcasting and her message. But he committed suicide. So she lost her son through suicide and is going through these massive grief emotions right now because everything you said about school starting, the date, the birthday, and all of that, those are all the same things that she said
Mhm.
too. So that's something that you as a mother has to face, when every single time. So it's hard. And then I had a really close friend of mine who lives in the same town as I live in, and she also lost her son to suicide. So two close associates, and then you. This was the conversation. I feel like, the grief that you all are feeling and have felt and are continuously faced with and talking about it
Mhm.
is helping the collective women and families and people who are facing this kind of experience and the most horrific kind, and that is losing a child.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's interesting because the stories are so different, but at the same time, you're dealing with grieving, they're so similar, and knowing that men and women they grieve so differently, and that's one thing that my husband and I have had, our own struggles with, as all couples do, where
Yeah.
he's grieving one way, I'm grieving a separate way, a different way. Maybe I'm happy at this moment, but then he is not, and then it's like, well, I'm feeling good now. I gotta kind of feel a certain way and then vice versa. So, it's definitely hard sometimes to be at the same level when it comes to grief because, it comes in ripples and waves and we don't know when that's going to hit, so, but it's definitely helpful to talk to other parents. And for me, speaking to other dads and being in the groups of parents has been helpful too, because so I can better understand my husband's grief the best way that, and vice versa. Then he can, hear from other moms and, and get their feeling about how, the other moms are grieving. So it definitely helps all of us.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And then the other thing that I think that would be like a really good strategy, like what I've told my friend Janet, what I've told T, is that anytime that I can be there for them, that they want to talk about their child and talk about memories or talk about anger that they're not here anymore or whatever it is, that I'm here. And I think it's an
Mhm.
important piece to, like I want to talk about my son. I want to talk about my
Mhm.
daughter. I miss my daughter.
Mhm.
I want to talk to somebody about it. Does anyone care? Is anyone listening? Right? That
Yeah.
that that
Yeah.
to have that and to have a community like that, like you said, your support group, that you and your husband are grieving in different ways. And isn't that just what it's like for couples, that are married? When one is low, the other is high, and when one, and vice versa, so that you
Mhm.
guys can at least you're not both together in the same, because then who would take care of the other kids? And
Some- Sometimes we are though. Sometimes we are, and we
and it
can't.
works.
We do it our best. Yeah,
Yeah,
we do our best.
yeah, that's really good. So what do you want to share with us around your fundraising? Like, let's tell people a little bit about more of the research you're doing, the education you're doing, and where do you want to direct people to go
Mhm.
to, to support you and support other parents too.
Right. Well, definitely our website, www.vienna.team. And if you go to how to help, it'll have a multitude of ways to help, whether it's, donating to the GoFundMe, donate, you can also go by Venmo and different ways. But also we have a Vienna collection handbags, that help design, and t-shirts, of course, and also in the medical community, I do give ground rounds lectures, and because of the virtual nature of a lot of the lecture now, I'm giving them coast to coast and even internationally. And I did give a lecture, to, potentially over 75,000 moms who are also physicians around the world a couple months ago through a Facebook group called Physicians Mom Group, PMG. And that was incredible, so I'm just really, getting the word out about this, because, we don't learn about it in medical school. So it's really important. So, and through word of mouth, I've had people contact me, now recently from Canada, and, I'm setting up a lecture there. And so, that's been great. So, and the response has been extremely positive. And then I think that's actually starting to turn into other collaborations, and even just, increasing my own knowledge, of this whole situation. So, but so that's definitely a great way, to be involved. And, through Vienna's Day of International SUDC Awareness, this is, a day that started the year after Vienna died, with a 5K race that over 200 of us joined. Didn't know it was going to be that many. I thought it would be like 20 of us, and over 200 people came in the rain and snow, and not snow, but rain and wind, and at the beach in Jersey. And, it was May, it wasn't snow just yet, but in New Jersey. But it was incredible. And so then since that day, we've had people from friends of mine, from other countries, who joined virtually that day. And that was just blew my mind that they decided to do this. I didn't ask them, but they decided to do it and take pictures on the same day with their Team Vienna shirts. And then every year after that, it's now always the Saturday after Mother's Day, always that Saturday in May after Mother's Day, where, people from around the world, join in and remember Vienna. Maybe they're active, or they're volunteering, or just doing something in her honor, and educating people at SUDC about SUDC. And, we've hit 7 continents, Cornelia, over the last 3 years. So we've done this 4 years, and 3 of the 4 have been, 7 continents wide, including Antarctica, Africa, Asia. It's really amazing. So,
wow,
more than what I could have ever asked for. And, these are friends of mine from when I worked, in a company, excuse me, back in my 20s, where it was a worldwide company. And then now friends of friends. And this is a team effort, this is, a spark is needed, but man, it is a team effort to get everybody involved, to really educate everybody about this. So that's been really helpful and hopeful, positive, to really get the word out. And really even a family from Canada that contacted me, and the physician, because I spread the word on Facebook to all these moms and told about Vienna's story. And that was my husband's idea, because I never really did social media before Vienna died. I never did. And it was after she died. And my husband Mike's like, Denise, you should really post something on that physician mom group that you haven't really paid a lot of attention to any social media. And I did. And that's when people started to learn about her. And then it was because of that people remembered Vienna's story. Because I think if people just think SUDC, it's just, if there's no picture attached to it, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. If people then, what happened was this physician remembered Vienna, remembered her gorgeous face, her little green ears, and said, oh my goodness, I can help this family. And actually connected us, and just let that family know immediately, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's sadly, a lot of other families who are going through the same exact thing. And together, I know that we can make a difference by, number one, caring about this. Got to care about this. Everyone, there's kids all over the world. This can happen to anybody at any moment. So I think just us pulling together as a world community, really to try to, solve this medical mystery. I know there's other things going on in the world now, but this is something that's not going to go away. It's not going to go away until all of us really, pull together. And so, we're all of us parents and people who care about it, are really doing the best that we can, and even, one thing that, you see on my shirt, Vienna's handprint, this is actually her last handprint before she died. And so this was coming from artwork that she did for my husband, who's an Army veteran. So she died November 12th. November 11th is Veterans Day. So this is a thank you art piece that she did for him. So we got that on our t-shirts. And then we had this bench made. It was funded by our local police department. It was an unbelievable gift. The Homedale Police Department in New Jersey. They've been so supportive and fantastic, with our tragedy. And so they fully funded this amazing bench at a beautiful park back in Homedale, New Jersey. And I asked them the department who installed the bench said, hey, look, can we please do handprints of all three of my kids, all three? And then they amazingly said yes. And so then I asked friends of mine, I had no idea how to do this, but I asked, friends of mine from Pennsylvania, Jenkins Machine Shop. I said, I know this is a crazy thought, but can you please take Vienna's artwork and make something out of metal or something that I can use as something to put in the cement? Because if it only has two handprints, it's not complete. I have three kids, not two. So that two handprints, I would have rather not even done it. I would have said I didn't do it. So to make this bench even that much more special, they said, okay, we'll try this. We've never done this before, but we'll try it. I said, awesome. And so then I got my other two kids out of school that day. And then within 1 week, my friends gave me this, which is the metal piece that I used to put in the cement as Vienna's handprint. So with my other two kids. So it was really amazing. Wow. So all those pictures are on our website. Denise. And yeah, it's been really incredible just how people have really helped out.
Denise, can you show it again? The handprint? Yeah, because we had an internet. Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
It's amazing.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I love that. Wow. They made that for you, and now you're using it.
Yep. And it's something that where I asked, Mike, the owner, that Sunday, thinking about it, really, it was kind of a last minute thing. And I had it by that Saturday. I mean, really, and the guys at their shop there in Bethlehem, PA, just, looking at it, they even put, the detail in the hand itself. They didn't have to do that. Yeah. But they did because they knew.
Time. They took their time and they really cared.
Yeah, exactly. And they knew it was for such a special, little girl. And so I really, this is just one of the most amazing things.
Yeah, yes. I'm so glad you shared that. Here's the thing that, that I'm seeing. I just want to congratulate you for, like the movement that you've created and really, truly keeping Vienna's legacy alive while educating the public, educating the world about SUDC.
Yes, sudden unexplained death in childhood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sudden unexplained death in childhood. So that's a big mission. And that's, again, a movement that you're creating when you were faced with this and you said, I want to do something. And now look at what you have after 4 years later and what you're doing. And it's just going to keep growing. And really, it's an amazing movement that you've created, the awareness. And so it can't be easy, but again, it's putting that energy forward into something where you can, help others. And that's always keeping Vienna's legacy alive.
Right. Thank you. Yes. I mean, she really is such an incredible little girl that, I really want to, continue her legacy with my family to, educate others about this and really, make a difference, we hope. And I think, a lot of positive things have already happened. So I think just as long as the momentum continues to go and people, continue to care about it, and that really, means a lot to us. And even, when people, take a picture on Vienna's bench in Jersey, or they wear a T-shirt from Antarctica or wherever they are in the world and say, Denise, we're thinking about Vienna. And, it's such a, it's such a positive thing. Of course, we're sad, those times happen, all different times, but, it's so nice to know that others are thinking about us and supporting us in all different ways, sending just an emoji to us on text or an email or whatever, all those things really, really matter to us.
Yeah. And that's really good. And really, like when you said, you hope that it all continues, it will continue because you will also be continuing, speaking, educating, getting out there. That's the thing. So it's going to be, this is going to be part of your life now, I'm sure, with, it's going to speaking events and creating awareness. I mean, it's part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one thing that also happened last year that was really remarkable. So last year was the first academic year. So we're looking at the 2020 to 2021 academic year of medical schools, where for the first time, curriculum materials and SUDC is starting to be taught in medical schools. So I created some materials, for the medical schools to make it really, 2 different pathways to make it super easy for them to incorporate. And I've had a lot of contact, regarding that. And, one of what I call him, my SUDC advisor, he's the principal investigator of the Boston Children's program, Dr. Goldstein. He's just an amazing person overall who's been doing research on this for a while. And so, asking for his assistance, which has been wonderful because, I just started learning about this 4 years ago, so even though I'm a physician and I'm confident that I can learn more and about the research and everything, but it's still new to me, and there's always more to learn. And I'm always happy to learn from obviously people like him, who's just really has done amazing things with his partner, also Dr. Kinney. She sadly retired, but they've just done amazing things. There's some other groups also in the world, but they're the ones that we're mostly in contact with the research study.
Yeah, that's really good. Denise, I hope that you take this video and share it on your social media pages, wherever your groups are, so that you can let people hear your enthusiasm and everything that you're sharing here, as you're creating awareness and, letting people hear you with this in this interview here, because it's also going to be played on 50 plus media outlets when we release the podcast. But right now we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. And so this is to help you create awareness with your cause. And so this is what we can do. I always felt such a wonderful connection with you when I met you. We've talked several times throughout the year, and I'm just so honored that that you're here and that you came back to talk to us again. Have you, over this the last years, have you had any communications with Vienna? Any signs, any synchronicities, any?
So, well, I must say, I had a lot more, I feel like I had a lot more signs in the beginning, actually. Not a lot in the last year. I wish that there were more, but not a lot. But there's two that definitely are, pronounced in my mind. And the first one, actually, so when I went one of my bracelets here. So it was my oldest daughter. It was her birthday. And so then we were making bracelets, right? And actually I chose the various charms, and so I chose an angel wing, I chose a butterfly, and a starfish. So all these three, are very special to me in regards to Vienna. And the sea star, actually, that was the last one that I had to put the little jump ring on. So it was just the charm and then the little circle jump ring. So, it's very tedious, and we're at the kitchen table, we're putting these things together. And I kept so I had two of them. Those two were done. And then my last one was the sea star. And this is going back to this place in New Jersey where I took the kids to this aquarium, and where you can actually touch sea stars. And so Vienna, was really kind of like mashing on the sea star, like, no, be more careful, the little sea star. Yeah. So it's just a really cute memory in my mind, where my other kids were a little more tentative, but Vienna just got right in there. So that's really, it's a fun memory. So anyways, I was trying to get this little jump ring on there, and I kept dropping it. I'm like, I just couldn't get it on there. So twice I dropped, like, where is this? So I was looking around for it, couldn't find the jump ring. I'm just looking around the floor around the kitchen. And I got back up to the table, and I looked at the charm, and there were two of my friends who were sitting there. They were working on their own thing, their own bracelet. And I said, wait a second. I said, who put the jump ring on for me? I said, it's on the charm now. Who put it on there? Like, what are you talking about, Denise? We've been working on our bracelets this whole time. I don't know what you're talking about. So I got up from looking for this little jump ring, and it was on my sea star already.
Wow. No explanation. No explanation.
Wow. It was just there. It was unbelievable. And what's crazy? That then we moved from that house. That was the house where she died. And we moved to a different place later that year. And when we were cleaning everything out, I found that jump ring that was like kind of in the cabinet below the table, but below, like, it was like an island of the kitchen. So they have cabinets with all the pots and pans. And so I remember clearing out everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the jump ring. How did it get there? And of course, again, just proving, oh my gosh, unexplained how this thing ended up on my sea star. Like, it was unbelievable. So that was that one thing. And actually, since I have it on my bracelet, I'll show you. I designed this V halo, which is on everything, if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
So we made it pink and sparkly and put that on some of our bracelets. And so then my other thing is, so you see the green ears that my little girl always loved to wear, right? And so a big sister created this. It was like a kit. You put it together. Vienna just kind of took it on as her own, right? So she would go to school like this and everything. And then it was funny because you would see in the pictures, there'd be 2 green ears, then there would be 1 green ear, and then no green ears. It was just the headband because they kept getting lost. And so a couple weeks after she died, I checked my little hiking shorts, and they have all these little pockets, and I found one of the green ears in that pocket. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even, because like, the kids always pickpocket us and they put things in my pockets, and I never realized. It's really, I love it. It's really cute. And so then I found that one right 2 weeks after. I remember thinking to myself, I wonder where the other ear is. Because at this point, we've moved it. We moved at least once at this point. Who knows where this is, right? So it was like maybe a year later. It was a while later. Kids and I, we have a van where the both doors open on the sides, right? So the kids are jumping in and out of the van all day, doing various errands. And then we got home, and no, we didn't get home. We were on our way to go home. And so we were, the last buckle of all the car seats to go home. And then, for whatever reason, I turned around. I said, oh, you guys buckled up. And I looked back, and I looked on the black mat, between the front 2 seats of the van and then the middle row. And I saw the second green ear out of the blue, right in the middle of the whole entire black mat, just waiting for me to find it. And remember, we were going in, the kids were going in and out of the car all day long. They would have stepped on it. We would have seen it, because this is a bright color on a very black mat. And I just stopped in my tracks. I'm like, oh, and I said, all right, kids, who put this there? What happened? What did you do? They said, what are you talking about, Mom? I'm like, where did this thing come from? So I take that as, of course, another big physical sign, which to me, there's about various little signs, but like these are like 2 big physical signs where honestly, I truly cannot explain. I mean, you try to, but like really can't explain it. So now amazingly, I have both of them, which I'm so happy to have them for my little girl. But they're
So cute.
This, yeah.
I love that story. That's incredible. I mean, definitely, it's unexplainable, but she's definitely with you, and you're definitely getting communications. I mean, there's just no other way around that, and why not? It's beautiful, and it's like the way that you told the story about all of a sudden now you were like going, I wonder what happened to that one ear, and then a year later there it was, and it showed up just unexpectedly like that. That's amazing.
It
Yeah.
really was.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give the audience another chance to hear your website again, where they can go. So tell us again how to get to the website.
Yes, it's www.vienna.team. You'll see a lot of videos on the homepage, but then also don't forget there's a lot of a wonderful material on the other pages, and also the media page at the end, where it has from the very start like 99% of the articles and interviews and everything. You just click on the link, and hopefully the link is still there. In the world of cyberspace, you never know, but yeah, and really see all the different interviews. And even when my husband was sick with COVID last year, he almost died, and this was March of 2020. Being a frontline worker, and actually we've had people who have learned about Vienna because of my husband, because he was very open and honest with, of course, in such a crazy time as March 2020. Really, he put on Facebook like funny, but very serious videos about him and how he was really declining over the 12 days as he was at our house. So we had some interviews regarding him, and also some newspaper articles and magazine articles. And so people from around the world are really following him and cheering for him. And people were giving me like medical advice. I mean, I was constantly on my phone, like really for 12 hours a day. I was texting 10 doctor friends of mine at the same time, or emailing or Facebook messaging people from Pakistan, different countries. What's working where you are? What's working? So and because of that connection, people then learn about Vienna. So then that's been helpful too with the outreach to other countries. That because of again, what could have been really another horrible tragedy if my husband would have succumbed to the disease, now people now learned about Vienna because of that, because of his illness. I mean, it's just what happened.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Turning that into a gift as well. I mean, that's huge. Yeah. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us your progress and just how you're dealing and coping with everything and the awareness that you're raising. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. You didn't know that we, the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group, now has its own app. And so for you, Denise, I want you later on, after we get off this interview, to go to the App Store and download KS Media Group app on your phone, because we are the world's best, featuring the world's best entrepreneurs, influencers in the world that are featured inside this app, so that you don't have to go out anywhere and look for inspiration, look for ways that you can make your life better, because it's all right here in this app. Go to KS Media Group and download that app, create your free account so that you can have access to all the amazing content that's there. This is something that we're really proud of, and you're going to see much more of. So be sure to go get it, and go get it today. It's free, so there's no excuses. So
Absolutely.
Denise, thank you
Okay.
so much for coming on. We'll see you again. I'm sure we're going to keep
Absolutely.
supporting you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks everybody for listening and tuning in. We'll see you again. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for
Bye.
having me. Bye bye.